Have a good one.
You too, have a great night. Thank you.
On track, now we gon' way up. Don't be used as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up, way up.
Hello, this is Rocco from JMJ Missions. In my hand, I am currently holding a parking pass for the Ocean City Boardwalk. I'm actually meeting Dan and Anthony here for a little JMJ collaboration, hoping also to inspire other passersby. Hopefully it'll be perhaps a catalyst to people's conversions.
I deal with life different, make that limit squeeze. Went off for my style.
Maybe they'll come up to us and ask who we are, what we're doing. We apologize about that recent interruption in our broadcast. We were actually stopped by an intrigued guest. Why there's three dudes just randomly filming together on the boardwalk. I'd be wondering the same thing. That's the agenda for today. Still waiting for Anthony and Dan to arrive, and that's all I got for now. Okay, I think they have arrived. I see Anthony walking towards me currently. From what I understand, Dan actually went ahead to order us some mango, so we'll actually be meeting him on the boardwalk. But here we have the one and only Anthony.
That's right. How's it going? Rock is down here. He beat us down here, so we just showed up, and we're gonna go get some pizza. Dan and Karen went ahead of us, and they're ordering the pie as we speak. So whenever I come to OC on the boardwalk, I like to play a game, and we're gonna do a little contest today. The game is called First Person to See Someone You Know Wins. And if you're the first person to see someone you know, you don't actually win, because then you have to buy everybody ice cream. So, update on the Seeing People We Know game. So far, no one yet. But take courage, we've only been here for about a half hour.
What's up, Dan?
Hi, we're about to go out to the jetty. To quote Ant, he pretty much said, let's just go out to the jetty and see what happens. So we're just gonna go out to the jetty and see what happens, and then I hope we're getting ice cream, because I've been asking for quite some time. Alright, so I have been asking for ice cream for literally 12 years on this boardwalk. And look what just happened. You mind explaining this to me?
This is indeed my fault. I will take full responsibility and full blame. Dan asked for ice cream about an hour ago at this point, and I said later. And, well, it's later, which is too late.
Alright, well, thank you for that, but it's not all just you. You ain't getting out of this either. Rock, explain this to me, please. Explain
Quite
yourself.
frankly, I agree with Ann. I think it was a little too soon to rush into dessert.
We just finished pizza.
We just finished pizza. You got to pace yourself a little bit, right?
Alright, we'll see how that worked out
So
for
right
us.
now you're 0 for 2. You want to keep going?
Wow, look around you. Look around here. It's a beautiful day. Slight breeze, 65 degrees out. There's people on the boardwalk. For a second, you would think that there's not a pandemic going on. For a second, you think that people weren't quarantined. For a second, you would even think that maybe the world and all its problems aren't quite as strong around here. Interestingly enough, the church, the saints, it's the exact same situation. This world, unfortunately enough, does have a lot of evil. There is a pandemic going on. And not just a pandemic, but there's a lot of people that are struggling. There's death, there's illness, there's suffering. It's what's called a valley of tears here in this world. However, when you look at a saint, or you look at someone in the church who really takes the church seriously, you see a light shining in that darkness. You see someone with so much love in the saints, someone with so much hope, so much light coming out of their soul, that the darkness around them, the darkness of this sometimes cruel world kind of just dissipates, just like it seems to have dissipated on this beautiful day here at the boardwalk. That's why it's so important to become saints. John Paul II, he would look at people and he would start to speak. And it was said that when he came here for Denver in 1993, I believe, or at least in the mid-90s, he came and he landed and there were like 750,000 people here to see him. He came to the United States many times, and people that were football fields away would look at him as he would speak in the microphone, and they would just start to cry because they felt loved. With this pandemic going on, people are looking for answers. There's a lot of people suffering. People are really looking for hope. In this world in general, there's a lot of suffering, and people are always looking for hope. Now, we know with our church teaching, at the end of time, there'll be a new heaven, new earth, the final resurrection. We're all going to get our bodies back, and there's going to be no sin, no suffering, no death, just pure joy, everything we're made for. But in the meantime, look at the church and look at the saints as previews of what's to come. Look at this boardwalk. This boardwalk is a preview of what's to come when this pandemic ends. So if people need a little hope in their life, they need a little light, you can be that light. You can be that preview of what's to come, both with this pandemic and at the end of time when there's no more sin, suffering, and death. Just get close to the Lord. We need to take this call very seriously and be a saint. We got some people from EHT. What grade are you guys in? You guys seniors?
12 years.
You're seniors.
Wait, so what do you guys do?
We talk about God in our videos.
Oh,
yeah, like, so
God?
I'm a religion teacher at a school.
That's
so
awesome.
I do
I
fun
respect
videos.
that a lot.
Like, so, like,
Yeah,
he knows,
thanks.
like,
We got some more peeps in here.
You already know.
Good to see you.
Wild boy here.
Very nice, very nice. How's it going?
Hey!
That was the coolest thing I've seen in the last hour.
wow.
That was tied for the coolest thing I've seen in the last hour. Go ahead.
On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going.
What?
That was also the coolest thing I've seen in the last hour. Nice earring, dude. So we just met a bunch of people. I don't know if you can see them behind us. You meet a lot of friendly faces on the boardwalk. A lot of kids like what we do, which is very cool. We'll take it, right? Anybody. Spread the Lord to whoever you can. Indirectly or directly, whatever you got to do. So, Ant, what do you have to say about that?
I think that was awesome. I just saw 3 backflips, and that's 3 more than I expected to see today.
Yeah, so you gotta be the backflips, joy, boardwalk, right?
This is not rooted in
But
backflips.
but your happiness cannot be rooted in backflips because there's gonna be a time where you're injured or you just can't do a backflip. Period, like me.
But those were nice backflips.
But they were
You gotta
nice.
give them
But they were
credit.
nice backflips. So you just keep that as a preview of the heaven to come.
So coming here to the boardwalk, it made me think of a few spiritual things. Now I have a tendency of spiritualizing the non-spiritual. For example, at the apartment that I live in with Dan, Dan brought an Xbox, and when it came over, it was awesome because we got to spend some time playing NHL, playing Rocket League. So I'm a teacher, and I told this story to my students, and some of my students like to make fun of me. And this one kid raised his hand, and he was like, "Mr. McCullough, you were probably like, let us thank God for this good and gracious gift of the Xbox." And I said, that's actually exactly what I did. The theme of this really is that your happiness can only be found in God alone. Now there's 3 things I wanted to do when I came to the boardwalk today. First things first was to go to Manco & Manco's to get some pizza. Now I love going inside because the chairs are really comfortable and there's all kinds of seasonings that I like to put on my pizza. But we get here and I forgot about the pandemic and that you can't go eat inside the restaurant. So that was thing number 1 that was taken off the board. Thing number 2 is that we wanted to play mini golf. We love mini golf. We take it way too seriously. We even talk in a little mini golf accent, which we're not going to get into, but obviously that's canceled too. And third thing, we wanted to get ice cream, as we hinted at before. Dan asked us to get ice cream about 15 times, and I said later, but it's too late. So there's 3 things that we thought we wanted, and we couldn't have any of them. Now, if our happiness was rooted in those things, if my happiness was in Manco's and Manco's, or if my happiness was in playing mini golf, I wouldn't be a very happy person. I would not have any joy at all. I need to have my happiness in God alone. If my happiness is in God, then all these other things that happen, whether things are canceled, whether March Madness is gone, whether the NHL ever comes back, it's not going to matter because God is at my heart. That's the most important thing. Think about your heart for a second and picture a little tiny throne, like a king's throne. Now put that throne right on your heart here. Now what's most important in your life? Whatever that thing is, that's what's sitting at the top of your heart. That's what's ruling your heart. We need that thing there to be more than a thing. We need that to be God. We need to have the Lord alone sitting in the throne of our heart. If that's the case, if you can do that, you're going to be a really joyful person. You're going to just radiate. People will know that you're Christian or Catholic just by your actions, by your words. And you're going to find that anything that comes your way, whether it be a pandemic, a power outage, I don't know, anything that could possibly happen to throw us off, you're going to be able to handle it. You're still going to be peaceful no matter what. basically the game that we played of seeing someone that we know didn't happen, but we figured that we would reward ourselves anyway and each buy our own ice cream.
And so for all the talk about being bummed because there's no ice cream and having to put your faith in God instead of ice cream so you can be happy, here's what happens. When you put your faith in the Lord, more often than not, sometimes you get what you want because your soul's in the right place, so God can now give you what you want. So hopefully our soul's in the right place and we can now treat ourselves to ice cream, which actually is open despite the fact we thought it was not. Finally got it. As you can see, it's dripping all over the place. All over my clothes. It's really bad. The wind's pulling it right into me as we speak, but I'm still gonna make the best of this and enjoy it. And this is why you cannot put your happiness into ice cream in the end. I mean, look at this. I'm still gonna enjoy it though, as a gift from the Almighty.